Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Fixing Regulator Bleed, Brewing with Cannabis, Brewing for the Year in One Season, and a question about breakfast stout. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 300. If I can find the music, guys. Can I find it? There it is. Oh, boy. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, and now you can call or text them in to 325-305-6107. I'm your host, Joshua Stubin. I am joined by the Director of Operations at cmvector.com over there, the photogenic Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President, Chief Keg Washer, and sharp-dressed man, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, cheers to episode
300. Oh, wait, we got to pour beer now. Tell them what we have, James.
This happens to be the best alt beer in the whole world. Schlussel.
It is. You're not lying. It is absolutely the best. We also
It is absolutely the second best alt beer in the whole world.
Wait, what's the best? Oh, Schumacher.
Yeah.
You brought the Schumacher cup. I love it. Or the glass, pardon me.
Schumacher.
The best.
It's the best. I am so happy that we are doing this live whenever you're watching or listening from the barn, Burns Barn Brewery. We're up at the pool. I had other cameras set up, and I didn't realize the sun moves, Todd. Did you know this? The sun moves?
Really? Huh? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It must be why those darn pesky sundials work.
Yeah, either the sun moves or we move. I forget what they say. But either way, it moved on me, and I was like, oh, I had to switch out gears and all. I had to switch out gear and all that. But I did manage. Y'all can't see it because my computer screen's right here. I got the pool cam going, too. This is my favorite shot, Todd, the pool cam I've got. It's this one mounted.
Oh, nice.
It's very good. I'm going to use it when I rent out your place on Airbnb.
Yeah, we'll have to throw something in for my dog to jump in the pool in a minute. Get an action shot.
He's ready. Look at him.
Oh,
yeah.
And the Schlussel cam. Oh, and I got the Schlussel
Cheers
glass.
to 300. Here, well, you give him a beer. Cheers to 300 episodes, guys. I'm so proud of us.
Yes,
Thank you very much. And I changed my mind. This is the best alt beer. Oh, my God, that's good.
And I did bring us, you don't have to light up now. I'm not going to judge you. Do whatever you want. I did bring us these 1926 number sixes, the Padrones, to celebrate. It's a celebratory situation right now. And it's a puppy paradise.
It's a dog episode, too.
Yeah, we got Gracie with us.
Gracie.
Today.
Yeah, 4 dogs.
Murray,
Charlie, Brady,
and Charlie.
It's a whole puppy palace. We've also got, I did a whole episode just of voicemails for you, Todd.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Didn't you say we had 6?
Total. Yeah, or maybe even 7, because we took some.
Because you didn't say what they all were in the intro. You just did 4 of them, right?
Of the questions.
Okay.
We got feedback voicemails too.
Cool.
That I'll get to. And, all that. And I'm just realizing as we're talking, I forgot to make the slider. It'll be on here by the time the episode goes live. So let me put it on the screen real quick. Bam! Yeah,
That's the same as I see it anyway.
I know you're true.
Yeah, we never see it.
But I'm saying I forgot to load it up into OBS. But the recipe, if you want to brew with us, in case you're brand new and you're like, hey, what's this show, episode 300? We have a Trub Club. Some people call it Trube Club. You can join at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. There are tiers where you get recipes from us every month. And last month we shipped out Todd's ESB. And by we shipped out, I mean they are shipping out because the yeast still hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
Oh, but
It'll
anyway,
get here.
It'll get there. And I'm gonna have it ship out Monday. If y'all can, I'm kind of
yeah, because otherwise it'll be going all weekend in the hot sun.
And some people are requesting, but for this month of October, because it's so chilly outside and we're ready for it, as we're gonna jump in the pool.
Yeah, whatever. It's 90s all the way through the middle of the month.
I'm burning up. But we are brewing a California Common. It's there on the screen if you're watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. California Common. When's the last time y'all brewed one of those?
It's been a while. It's one of my. I love that style.
I think it's been years for you, James.
Well, mister, that's too long.
Well, that's too long.
I had one in last time when we were there. We had one at the brewery, right?
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh,
yeah, right. We went at the brewery.
Y'all went to Anchor.
And got them free. They gave us the beers.
Yeah, they did. That's right.
Was that 2020 or 2021?
This is 2022.
Oh, wait, y'all went this?
We told them we had a podcast, Homebrew Happy Hour, and the lady's like, "That's so cool," and then she gave us the beer
For free.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't know we only had 3 listeners. Yeah. We didn't tell that part.
3 non-blood related.
Oh, blood related.
We had like 14.
That happened to be co-hosts.
Yeah, that
you know.
Yeah. I know some people with podcasts, they stress so much about their statistics, and they'll look like, I got 1 download in Dallas, Texas. Was that you? Nah, man, wasn't me. Sorry.
That's funny.
But anyway, so yeah, if you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join one of our tiers. The recipe receiving tiers, like I said, get the California Common, but we appreciate you regardless of the tier you join. We appreciate y'all's support over the last 300 episodes. Good time to thank James too, because if it wasn't for you coming in after episode 50, we were kind of written off, or we wrote off the podcast. We were kind of done.
I think y'all would have still done it.
No, we literally weren't. Remember, he told you, like, why don't y'all do that again? Y'all should bring that back.
Yeah. So we got a lot of dog. You know, your dog was ripping up my yard a second ago, and I realized I can't yell at him. Like, he can do anything he wants right now.
He figured out the cheat code.
Yeah.
What else do I got in the small talk? Oh, big news too. Our current Facebook group for Trub Club, we are opening up to all members of the Trub Club, not just people who are literally a part of our Patreon group, but now anyone in our audience. Our audience has gotten so big that I get requests almost daily, 10 or 15, for people wanting to join that. And I'm like, it's hard for me. I'm a pushover. Ask Todd. With good cop, bad cop, I just don't want to be cop. I'm bad at both of them. But I always want to try to be good cop. And so it's like, oh, but you're not technically in the Patreon, so sorry. So that's done. We are now opening it up.
I think it's good. I think it's good to have a bigger audience that we can kind of interact with. And
also, hive mind works better when there's a bigger hive, right? Like, people can get support from like-minded brewers. If you're listening to this show, you're probably like-minded with the rest of the people that listen to the show, as in toilet humor.
Never.
Yeah, you're okay with 1-star reviews, making fun of white women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But
we are going to do something else too, right?
We do, yeah. So people who are in the paying Patreon, you're going to get a message at the end of this week. We're recording this on the 5th, Wednesday. I haven't had that much to drink yet. I was thinking, what day is today? On the 5th. Friday, check your Patreon inboxes. This is literally going to be a secret group where it's not going to be searchable by Facebook at all. You'll get the link to it. Join it. That's where we'll post like the old Q&A videos we had, any new Q&A stuff that we're able to do with people in the industry, and a lot more, one-on-one interaction. These dogs are to be the death of me. Who every time I tried to throw Murray in there.
That was your dog.
You let him out though.
Your dog.
I put him in there and you let him out. Anyway.
Oh.
So yes, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Any tier qualified for the secret group, so you'll get the link for that new secret group. But if you're watching or listening right now and you're on Facebook, not all of us are on Facebook, but if you're on Facebook,
I'm not on,
and you want to be a part of the bigger community we've got going, search for Homebrew Happy Hour Trub Club, and boom, join there. It'll just ask you a couple questions, make sure you're not a bot, and then it should let you in.
So you finished yours. I'm almost finished with mine. He hadn't shut up. We're going to get more than our share of the alt beer. I can tell already.
I don't like this at all.
I drew the first glass, so it was kind of foamy.
Before I get to
mine was real foamy too. You better get me some more too.
Yeah, you got it, sure.
Hey, before I get to any of the voicemails, I'll throw it to you first, Todd. 300 episodes is a lot. Do you happen to have any standout memories or moments that was your favorite from the past 299 episodes?
Oh gosh, I should have known you were going to ask me that, and I needed an answer for it, but I didn't think about it. There's been a lot of them that I've really enjoyed. The one we did with Horst when he talked a lot about alt beer was fun. God, there's just been so many. I don't know. It's hard for me. It's kind of like a beer. You know, everybody always asks me, "What's your favorite style of beer?" And I'm like, I really don't have one. I like all styles of beer.
Kolsch. I thought you were going to say it's like when people ask you who your favorite kid is. Hannah.
I don't have a favorite kid right now.
Yeah, that's terrible when you only have one kid and you don't have a favorite.
No,
right?
no, that's a Steve Harvey.
No.
Good answer, James. Good answer. James, what about you? Since Todd just got crapped out on.
That's an excellent question. That's what people always say. That's a really good question, Josh.
But I just don't have an answer for it. James, what about you? You haven't been with us for all 300, but you've been with us for 249 of them.
Right. Probably the 100th episode when we saw you shave your beard.
At my office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we got to go about the town and went out of town, stayed in a hotel. It was a lot. It was the first time I think I ever did anything like that.
That was the night we had the not alt beer. Mm-hmm. That was the same night. We had
the stout.
We had the the stout. But they were like, no, man, that's an alt beer.
Yeah, Todd and I, we talked about it, and he actually said, I'm going to go let them know. They probably need to know that they've got the wrong keg tapped. No, that's it.
No, I promise. That's it. Yeah. I'll say. Go ahead. No,
I'm laughing because my little dog always barks to get me to throw the stick for the big dog. Like it's his. Yeah. That's his job in life is to get me to throw the stick. So they're really annoying sometimes.
He's a good brother.
But I don't think people care about the dogs making a little noise on the podcast.
Oh, I'll let you know when I care.
Okay. It's only going to bother Josh.
Yeah. The things. I'll say one of my favorite things of working for Todd for almost 15 years, podcast related or not, if you let him know what bothers you, he exploits it, and to an annoying degree. So, no, the dogs are great, Todd. Not
good. I'm glad you like them.
November will be 7 for me.
7 years with Todd?
Yep.
Wow.
You're a saint. After 7's when it really starts getting good, man. For the podcast, though, 300 episodes. I really enjoy, still to this day, one of my favorite trips. In the early days, we went to, here's a lighter for you. We went to Denver, tri-state area. Mm-hmm. That trip, specifically with Matt Meadows at New Belgium.
Oh, that would have been fun.
It was I hate to leave you out of the memory, James. I apologize. But he was so hospitable. And I mean, I've never been treated so good out of such a big brewery. Remember, Todd? He was taking beer off the line for us. He was just, and I don't remember. I think you paid. I didn't pay. Lord knows I didn't pay.
Pay for what?
The tab at the end of the night because I was kerschnockered in the tap room.
I bought a bunch of signs, if you remember, and I bought some vomit beer.
Yeah,
I
forgot the.
Well, I met Matt when we went to the CBC in Denver. Mm-hmm. He bought us some beer. In fact, they had a special event at a tap room.
Yeah.
And it was just for their invited people.
Yeah.
And we kind of went with Mark from Taprite, crashed the thing, and Matt showed up.
Just throw it.
If you throw it once, they're going to just keep bringing it back.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw it in the barn.
Oh, he threw it in the trash can. So
okay. Good. Let's go to the pool cam.
So anyway, it was a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people there.
I forgot y'all did that trip.
Yeah. And he remembered Todd and come right up, and we talked for a good long while.
And this is not podcast related, but my second favorite memory, which I don't know why. Did we do a podcast when we went to the Brow? Did we? We did record one from Prague, didn't we?
Yeah, in the hotel room.
In the hotel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have to be one of my favorite podcast moments because that is probably now in hindsight thinking about it, that's my favorite trip of all time that we've taken.
Yeah, Prague was
it's
really
funny.
cool.
He said he didn't really remember if we'd done it or not, and then when you confirmed that he remembered, he was like, "That was my favorite podcast."
that we had because I don't remember anything about the podcast. I mean, it was part of that trip, therefore it was my favorite. That would have to been 4 years ago.
That was 2018.
Okay, so 4 years ago, almost to the day, right? Because it was October of that year, or early November, pardon me. But either way, almost 4 years to the day. Yeah, that was a fantastic memory. And then obviously all the guests we've ever had. Horst is one of my favorites too. We've had a lot of good guests on. Looking forward to getting even more guests on the next 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also for me doing the live brew days Like, we had the customer that come in and we did an alt beer brew on his Brautag. Mm-hmm. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that.
We should have just brought the system up here and brewed beer at the pool.
We should have. Yeah, it's not as easy to drag around, though. I don't think it's portable. I don't think we
I have to put 220 in, but I could do that real quick.
Maybe that's our next project, a portable 3-vessel Harms with conical refrigeration.
There you go.
Bright tank.
That would be legit.
Yeah.
That's filling.
And then you could go town to town and put seminars on how to homebrew all grain beer and then let them try the product.
That's the niche you didn't know we needed to fulfill.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely.
Oh, damn it. I said it on the air.
Yeah. Patent pending, friends. That's ours. That's ours. Anyway, enough small talk. I think I've got us through like 15 minutes worth of it. So we do have a crap ton of voicemails along with some feedback. So with that being said, let me get this up and it's time for listener feedback. Our first listener feedback comes from our buddy Peter from Canada, and it's about first wort hopping.
Hi, my name is Peter from Canada. And I do not have a question. I have feedback on first wort hopping. I use first wort hopping every time I brew, and not so much for the smoothness or the better bitterness, although anecdotally I think I notice it. I think it's less harsh. But the reason I do it is to avoid boilovers. I find that when I would always put my bittering hops in right at hot break, it would cause I don't know if it's CO2 or something that's coming out, but it would cause a giant, like putting Mentos in a Coke
In a
bottle.
Coke, yeah.
And
exactly.
if you don't have a big enough kettle to absorb that rise in wort, sometimes you would get boilovers. And when I used to brew on my stove, it was a habit I got into to do first wort hopping, and I've never stopped doing that. So what I do is I put my hops in right after I take I use a Brewzilla, so it's like brewing a basket. So as soon as I take the grains out, I throw the hops in and start from there. So that's how I do it, and I have definitely noticed a lack of boilovers. So keep up the great work, guys, and talk to you guys later. Bye.
Peter, thank you. That's a very good point about the boilover, because how many times have you added your hops, turned your back, and then turned around to the boilover of doom?
I've done it several times.
As have I. When you push your system to the brink, how do you avoid it when you're just so very slow?
I just keep the temperature way down, and then I just put the hops in slowly. And it's never boiled over. I remember doing it when I used to not all grain brew. When I first started brewing, I remember doing it a couple times where I was almost over the top when I put them in. But yeah, Mentos is a good analogy. Would that be an analogy? He did use one of your favorite terms, anecdotal.
Yes, I do.
I think that's why you put it on the show. But yeah,
I know he's from Canada. Eh?
Yeah,
that's why I put it on.
Well, that's cool.
I was just wanting to hear what he was talking about. Yeah, I that is wild. I mean, that he brought it up. What was the was it you who used to do distilled water in a spray?
Yeah, you can
works, right?
you can take distilled water in a spray bottle. Make sure you haven't used the spray bottle for anything else. Right. Like get your new spray bottle, put some RO water or distilled water in it, and when you get that protein, rise or break, protein break. Yeah. You can shoot it if you see it starting to foam. You can mist it with that, and it'll just kill it immediately.
Yeah.
But what I do, it's kind of like Todd. I watch the controller, the power output to the burner. So when it gets when I've got a rolling boil, I'll actually turn the burner way down percentage wise, is percentage of power, and you can maintain that. But he's right. Sometimes if you're doing a bunch of bittering hops, it does something to the wort, and it'll start foaming like crazy.
Right, where it seems stable, and then all of a sudden, like you said, the Mentos stain is perfect, because that's exactly what it's doing visually. It's creating this sort of volcanic activity.
Volcanic eruption of protein, that hits. But I'm also doing something probably a lot of people don't do, and I skim the protein off the top as it's hitting boil. and I found that that helps get a clearer beer at the end.
I used to do it. I stopped doing it because Lorena told me not to do it anymore.
well,
Why'd she say not to?
Huh?
Why did she say?
I don't question her.
Well, you could make the argument that commercial brewers don't do that.
They don't. Right?
But a lot of commercial breweries filter their beer, and a lot of them don't. But it's just something that I've got used to. We talk about all the time your process and how you do it. It's something that I do that I've always done, and I'll probably still do it.
Well, in habits,
just a habit. Yeah.
And if at the end of the day, if objectively it's not really doing anything, it's part of your routine. So it is doing something. It's it's part of it's making sure you're going through your steps of your brew process.
Yeah. She did say it wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So much ado about nothing. Now I'm going to prove her wrong. I'm going to only start scraping, and I'm going to tell her, Marina, my beers never tasted better. It's great.
Yeah.
She also doesn't like fuggles. Let's send her. Oh wait, no, the ESP doesn't have fuggles in it. Never.
Oh no, it didn't. We don't. We probably don't use fuggles because in the back of our mind we know that we will be ostracized.
Yes, we will be ostracized by Lorena.
What'd she say? It tastes like worm dirt or something like that.
It tastes, I think that's the way exactly she said. It tastes like earth. Because it's episode 300 and Todd's a fan of voicemails, I'm a fan of giving away Todd's money. I actually brought another voicemail. So again, it's time for
We're gonna play that again.
I have to before the next one. Our next feedback is from our buddy Dan from New Jersey about conical headspace.
Hey guys, I just have some listener feedback for you. This is Dan from New Jersey. First off, I'm no lawyer, but these $5 bets, Josh, it sounds like there's a lot of entrapment on Todd and on you, so you got to watch out for that. But I was just listening to your episode about headspace in the conical fermenters, and the only concern that I thought about would be if you're using the cooling coil that it is far enough into the beer, because I have seen on Reddit and Homebrew people having ice form on the coils because there's not enough of it submerged in the wort. So, yeah, guys, keep up the good work on the show. I love listening to it every week. Take care. Bye.
Sweet.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm barely literate, and I looked up the definition of entrapment. I didn't find it, but I did rewatch the 1999 hit thriller Entrapment with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery, and it's a great movie. I just want to recommend it.
For the laser scene, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's a good-looking woman.
How dare you? But yes, she is fine in that movie. Catherine Zeta, I don't know how she aged. I'm sure she's beautiful, but
still is fine.
It's like, who's the girl from Dusk Till Dawn? What's her name? Darn it!
Yes.
And also in Desperado, she played Antonio Banderas' love interest in Desperado. What is her name?
I always think of
she is
that Adam Sandler movie, Grown Ups.
Oh, she
was Adam Sandler's wife. Yeah.
He always does that, doesn't he? In his movies,
Yeah, she's...
Anyway, yes, Todd, entrapment. But no, conical headspace. That is a great point. If you're using cooling, some kind of thing that is using the glycol and cooling, it has to be submerged or it ruins. It's just like on the other side of the spectrum of hot and cold. A heating element without being submerged is a ruined heating element, right?
Yeah,
I don't know, because it goes all the way to the top. So you can't submerge it all. It's impossible.
Is the whole thing actively cooling?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've
never gotten any ice on that one. I think it's because of the way the temperatures. I mean, we never have it that cold. So, it never gets below freezing, and glycol freezes at a lower temperature. So I don't think you would.
But there could be an issue where you have the chiller below 32 degrees and any condensation, because you've got a temperature change from where the coil's immersed and where it's not. It is possible to get some frosting on the coil on the inlet side.
Yeah, that's what they do with glycol chillers to do those tower the frozen towers. They were real popular for a while.
Yeah,
where they would freeze. In fact, the one I have, the glycol chiller I have, is made for freezing a tower.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they call them ice towers.
Ice towers, yeah.
They run passages are cast into the body. And so they cool the body down enough to where the sweat forms on the outside, and then they just keep it cold, and it'll turn into ice.
A big old block of ice.
No way.
There used to be a bar in Vegas. I think it was the Venetian, and it was called the Ice Bar. Maybe it wasn't. But anyway, it wasn't the Venetian. I don't know what hotel, but it was called the Ice Bar. And the entire bar was a frozen slab of ice, and then they had ice towers. and it was pretty cool. It was a Russian bar.
I can't imagine that was very cheap to operate
Yeah.
month to month in a desert.
Yeah.
Ah, well, it's Vegas.
I always wondered that what the electric bill of Vegas is. Like, they're in a
Can't
desert.
be more than mine.
Yeah. I didn't even look at mine this month.
I made the mistake one time of complaining about my electric bill, and Todd told me his, and I go, I will never complain again.
Oh my gosh! Well, we're paying about 40% more now because of that freeze in Texas.
New world. What is the new word? PCRF adjustment.
Yes.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, my bill this year compared to this time last year is ridiculous with less usage.
Mine was half of the normal usage charge.
You told me that your minimum charge or
it was like 150, and then the PCRF was 70. And I'm like, what the heck? And the people online are on the news are saying your electric bill is going to make up. You could see 30% increase.
On top of this.
What?
Yeah. Todd, I think, by the way, reminding Peter and Dan, thank you so much for submitting that.
Yes, thank you.
325-305-6107 for future people who want to send us voicemails to play on there. And you do get a $25 gift card to KegConnection.com. Before we go to the questions, which are all voicemails, let's do a shot.
Yeah, is it rude of me to be looking at you? Because I don't know what to do here.
No, but you're fine. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
It is rude. Don't look at me. Don't ever look at me again.
Okay. No problem.
But
Yeah. Kill a pitch.
He brought
9.
he brought James's
300th episode. We're going to
ruin my palate for this wonderful tasting beer.
But it's from Dusseldorf. We're keeping in the theme.
We're going to do a half shot. How about that? We'll just
I had the best feedback ever, and I told the guy who left it, Corey didn't end up leaving a voicemail, so I couldn't play it, but he left me a text message, and he said, I want for episode 350 or 400 for y'all to fly Horst down and to do shots of Kill a Pitch with him. I said, deal.
Oh, yeah, that is a deal. So this one has the least in it. I'm going to give you that one.
Look at James.
Well, here, you can take whatever one you want.
He's tall enough to look.
And I'll give you the one with the most in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Prost,
my friends. Huh?
Is this what they call a fireball?
And you sip it.
Because it's so good. I like to savor it for a while.
My phlegm is getting looser. It's good. It's very Jaegerish.
That's why I don't like it.
Oh,
it's not. Yeah, I don't think it tastes like Jaeger.
It's similar. I like it's a licorice.
Yeah, but it's got more. Yeah,
a lot more herbs in this.
This has a lot more herbs. Jaeger's more licorice.
This is more medicinal. It's taste.
Oh, it's good stuff, isn't it?
I'm doing that.
No.
I told Todd before the episode, I was only kind of joking. What were the words I used? I'm getting smashed today, or I forgot how I said it.
Yeah, and I told the story about the last time I heard somebody say that, it was my brother, and somebody was holding a trash can under him for the about 9 o'clock that night. So I'm like, I am not agreeing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 4:40 here right now. I could catch up to your brother.
You can. I'll get the trash can ready.
Make him look like an amateur. Anyways, we do have technically 5 voicemails, but 4 questions. The first one coming from our buddy Kenny. Y'all know him as the Brewer of Seville, using our voicemail line at 325-305-6107. Here's part 1 of his voicemails.
Josh, Todd, James, what's going on, my friends? This is your old buddy Kenny Hyman, a.k.a. the Brewer of Seville, calling. I hope you enjoyed that sweet Ohio craft beer I sent you and the old Mecklenburg. I'm sitting here enjoying some of that Texas beer I got in. Oh wait, no, I'm not. That's right. Anyways, I do actually have a question for the guru of regulators, Mr. Todd Burns. Todd, I have a CO2 regulator that when I turn the gas off on the tank and I bleed it, the gauge still reads around 20 psi. Is there a way that I can fix this gauge myself, or am I screwed and I just need to go and buy another one? I hope the answer is I can fix it myself by monkeying around with it a little bit in there. If not, I guess I'll just get another one from Keg Connection, because this is from you guys. I did get this regulator from you guys. Anyways, I miss you guys. You guys are doing great work, and except for Josh. And yeah, so talk to you guys later.
Hold on, before you get to the answer, let me send you the part 2 because he was adamant.
Hey, this is the brewer Seville again. I had to do a quick follow-up call because lest anyone believe that I really have beef with Josh for not sending the beer back to me. I absolutely do not, and I know that Josh is working very hard on that CM Becker EU website, so I know he doesn't have time for all that nonsense. I'm
What
sure
did you
that
tell
Todd's
him?
just riding him very, very hard. So, I just wanted to clear that up for you guys.
Hey.
And I really do love y'all. You know that. All right. Take care, fellas.
Well, you know that.
By the time this airs, he has the beer.
Yep, he has it because
And
why? Why does he have it, Josh?
Because you got it.
I got tired of him contacting me about what a bad person you were, so I bought the beer.
He was messaging Todd like just jokingly, and Todd's like, "Son of, I'm gonna get it now." But also cmbecker.eu is pretty much done.
Yeah, it is. Amazing. Hey, to 4 years of hard work, Josh. Yes.
You big jerk. Get back to his question. Regulator bleed. He did let me know it's a tap right that he got from
Well,
us.
he didn't say bleed. He said that it was reading 20 psi when he has it off, right? So it's probably bent. If I had to guess, that's what it is 90% of the time. It's like probably bent forward. It could be bent back, but it's almost always bent forward because that's the way it bends the easiest. And a lot of times you can just grab it with your hand and pull it back. And it's already messed up, so you're not going to mess it up anymore.
Right.
And if you pull it back, that little background, and I believe it's aluminum, it's a real thin aluminum sheet that has the numbers on it. If you pull it back, sometimes it'll get out of the way of the needle, and the needle will fall down.
James, I get you. Thank you.
But worst case scenario, Kenny, I know I hate to have you, spend $6.95, but you could order a new one too. And you just have to unscrew it and screw it back on. So, but cheers, Kenny. We love you too, man.
Would it be an episode if I didn't mess something up? I can't go back in time and change the title. I already said it at the top. I didn't. Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. That's a good pour.
That is a beautiful pour.
I
wow.
read the transcription, and I guess where he said read, it translated as bleed, and I just assumed he's talking about regulator bleed, which happens with regulators all the time.
Yeah.
Creeping up is what it's also called.
Oh, okay, yeah. And why not answer that too, right?
That way I don't have to change.
Regulator bleed. Regulator bleed is basically where you stop it. Well, I call it creep actually, but
is there a difference?
You stop it, and it basically keeps going up slowly. So a lot of times it doesn't continue to go up forever, but it goes up to from 10 to 15, although you set it at 10. That's almost always the cartridge. It could also be the diaphragm. When you do a rebuild kit, it comes with the cartridge and the diaphragm. So you can get a rebuild kit, take it apart, put those two parts in, and that will fix it pretty much every time.
Thank you for covering my mistakes.
Yeah, think about it the way creep is up, bleed is down.
Okay, so bleed is when you're losing gas.
Yeah.
And creep is when your regulator is adding gas.
Yeah, it's creeping up.
Okay.
And bleed is like bleeding out.
If I stabbed you, you would bleed out.
You would be a creep for stabbing me. Yeah. You creep up on me and stab me.
But I would be higher than you because you'd be on the ground. So I would be creeping up. Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't for your neck, I was going to suggest we do a 300th episode rematch. But
yeah, I know my neck. I know I could take you, but it's just my neck.
It's been 12 years since we've last wrestled.
Yeah. Well, I'm still in the physical condition.
Not with your neck, dude.
13 and a half years ago is when he did. I'll admit it, is when you whooped my ass on the concrete floor of the San Marcos warehouse because no one else would wrestle you. I had no background. I was like, I'll wrestle him. This guy's old. What were you 14 years ago? 40?
Yeah, 40. I was 40. Yeah. How old are you now?
36.
Oh, yeah, you're almost there, buddy. You're almost old.
I am almost old. But, yeah, I need to read better is what I'm getting from this. But, yeah, let me also do some marketing here and some infomercial. It's a good time to remind people, too, if they buy the stuff. Now, what is covered under the warranty? Just the regular, not gauges and stuff. Like the 2-year warranty.
Yeah. Well, there's a 2-year warranty for Taprite, but CM Becker has a 5-year warranty.
Right.
Yep.
And it covers stuff that screws up, not stuff that you screw up. How about that? It's the screw up warranty.
Yeah.
If we screw up, we cover it. If you drop your regulator on the ground and bend the gauge like Kenny probably did, then we don't cover that.
Do you remember? I'm sure they don't watch the show. I'll be nice if they do. The people who were local that brought in a regulator, and they're like, "It just stopped working. We're not quite sure what happened."
Oh God, that was recently. Yeah,
it was like 2 weeks ago. Remember that, James? They brought it in, and the regulator, it was the worst bent. It was concaved, almost shattered.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Cage, and they're like, "We don't know what happened to it."
We had a guy bring one in, if you remember, and he took it all apart, and he put the wrong. You've got high pressure ports and low pressure ports. He put the discharge port out as a high pressure port, put it all back together wrong, and then said, "This regulator's no good."
Yeah, this regulator's terrible. I can't believe he didn't blow kegs up.
Oh, it's
because
so
he
bad.
had he had it was a restaurant, so they had a large tank, and my theory is that they actually were feeding it with less psi than the tank. Because if he'd have put 800 psi on it, he would have taken 800 psi right into the kegs.
Yeah, it would have hit the blow-offs
He completely
immediately.
took it apart and put the high-pressure parts on the low pressure and the low-pressure parts on the high pressure.
He would have known quick if that pressure relief valve worked, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And remember when China first started flooding the market with non-NSF tested, and there were people very rarely, but remember, some did explode on people in the world.
Oh, really?
Huh. Yeah, I saw it on the internet. Yeah, people, it's not common, but that was like, this was like, probably 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're just copying like the AEB Italian kids, flooding the market, not doing any, not doing any.
You're talking about the keg.
The keg.
The ball keg, the corny keg.
Yeah. The early versions of them, again, 13, 14 years ago, were not safe, but they were dirt cheap. So people are like, I'm going to buy this keg for $25 or whatever the prices were 14 years ago, which is wild to see what kids go for now.
Yeah, it is.
I have all of our Black Friday or any marketing asset I've ever created saved on a hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
And the Black Friday deals we were doing in 2013, dude, it's laughable.
Couldn't touch it now.
CO2 cylinders for $20. We had a 5-pound CO2 cylinder. It was $25.
Yeah, and then we had
in
kegs for $15, right?
Yeah, kegs for $15 in 2012.
Well, going back to the pressure thing, I did something, a big time no. I did the Marzen. Or the Matson.
Yeah.
The last time I brewed.
I forgot about that.
And the PRV, I did the pressure fermentation on it with the spunding valve. Well, there's an arrow, guys. When you take that apart and clean everything up and you put it back together, there's an arrow for flow. I wasn't paying attention. I put that on backwards because it's got a John Guest fitting.
Yeah.
So I came back to the office Monday, and I was always in anticipation, because I did it on a Friday. How much is it finished?
Yeah.
And it was like a drum head. It was like ding.
Oh no.
And I looked at the gauge and it was absolutely buried.
Oh God. Yeah. And that's the thing about leaving it. I wouldn't be able to stand it. I'd have to come check on it on Saturday.
But to be fair, with the fermenter that we got from More Beer, I believe is where we got that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It does have a pressure relief valve on it. So it didn't pop that, but it finished out
it may
good.
have popped it. It doesn't.
There was no foam or anything.
It doesn't pop. As soon as it gets back down, it closes again. So it could have.
There wasn't anything in it.
It would have foam or something.
Yeah.
Will you do me a favor? Because we stand up, turn the camera off and on. This camera's still working. That camera froze on me, and I'm afraid it overheated. A little bit of technical difficulties, no big deal. Okay, so
are you really going to edit that out?
No.
God, I hate you. Oh wait, you're not going to edit that out either. I don't hate you.
Yeah,
he's my friend.
Yeah, he's my friend.
Like, dude, that's what he says.
Yeah, that is what I say. That's right. I hate you. I say that in our text thread all the time. We have a group chat. Y'all post photos of when you're smoking delicious food and doing whatever. I'm just saying I hate you. I could be doing it too, though. You sent me the link. That thing is not that expensive. I could.
No. I'll tell you what. If y'all want a pellet grill, that's the one to have.
What is it for the people at home?
I can't think of the name right now.
I can't either. That's why I was throwing you, John, in the spot. Anyway, Kenny, thank you so much for submitting the question. Again, reminder, you can leave a voicemail at 325-305-6107. Get yourself a $25 gift card courtesy of Mr. Todd Burns right over here. Moving on to our second question, another voicemail, our buddy Nate from Arizona.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Nate calling from Arizona in regards to a somewhat controversial subject, but with cannabis kind of sweeping the nation with different states being legalized, and definitely in Arizona it's legal. And the funny thing is I don't even partake that much, but I saw some cool articles, and I wanted to delve into a cannabis beer. I believe it's the Blue Moon owner. I saw a cool article from them, and some other people have been doing it. All the recipes I was seeing online are involving buying actually fresh weed or bud and having to cook it at a low temperature in the oven or some other means to extract or infuse out the THC. And they're all doing this with high ABV beers. That way it emulsifies, if I'm using the right word, or absorbs into that beer. So I tried to kind of switch it up. I'm doing a light-bodied kind of golden style, hoppy golden beer with some strata hops, which kind of has some cool dankness to them anyway, and cool tropical notes. But instead I bought some distillate from the store, which is already good to go, THC extracted. You can put it right on food or whatever. You don't have to decarb it. And I'm a bottler, guys, which I know you'll love that, but this might inspire me to get into kegging soon because I destroyed my bottling bucket. So anyway, at bottling time with priming sugar, I infused the distillate in there, mixed it up in the bottles. Yeah, once again, got my bottling bucket so sticky that I don't think I can ever salvage it. Extremely sticky, but it turned out really good, and it was a blueberry flavored distillate, which went great with the hops and everything with the golden. But the only problem is only some bottles carbonated. So I'm curious to get your input if you guys have heard anything about cannabis beers yet, and maybe why some of the bottles only carbonated. I want to think there's maybe some oil content or something like that that's keeping it from carbonating good. But I'll try to give it some more time, maybe see if that does it. Anyway, guys, love the show. Sorry to prattle on here. Appreciate you guys. I watch you on YouTube, and keep on doing your thing.
Rambling's all we know.
Yeah, it's got to be the oil.
I never thought about it. Yeah, I don't know if it would that affect that just the head or the actual carbonation?
I think it could affect both for sure. The head.
The head,
but, yeah. Try a good experiment. What I would suggest to him is try if you've got like a soda carbonating kit. Put a little oil in it and see how it affects carbonation. I would say the oils.
I can't imagine it would keep it from absorbing the carbonation, though. I mean, cannabis is the same thing as marijuana, I believe, right?
Yeah, sticky is the icky. I think it's. Yeah, I think that's what they say in some circles of some sort.
Holy moly!
But I've heard of this.
I'm gonna make that a clip. I love the way you said the sticky of the icky. Oh man,
Mary Jane.
I love how Nate said, "I don't partake that much."
That much, yeah. So, and I have heard of this thing where you cook it for several hours, and and
I would suggest you smoke it.
Yeah,
that's funny, right? Well, here let's
smoke it and have a beer with it.
Let's discuss though, because it is. We know, especially big beer. They love to hop on any craze they can, right? When seltzer water heart became the thing, every macro had their own version of it.
Yeah, I swear I turned that off.
Yeah, you said that 2 times already. But the trend, if cannabis infused beer was a more lucrative endeavor, we'd see more macro breweries doing it. James, do you think there's a reason they're not jumping on the craze of CBD infused beer?
Well, I think it's a flavor issue. I think if it would be me, I know that hops are the same genome as
they're cousins, right?
But unless you have, and this may happen later on, where we've got people growing that and creating strains, flavor strains. It seems like, and I'm maybe talking out my butt, but there's different types of cannabis, and anybody that's watched The Office knows that Creed knows all the different strains, but
Northern Lights Indica.
No, it's marijuana. But my point is that they could create and cross pollinate and create flavorful. I'm talking aromatic and bittering units, because if it's the same genome, it's got to have the same alpha acids as marijuana. And that's oil. That translates into oil. That I just think it's a flavor thing.
Right. I was just saying, you're not really going to make a beer with THC for the psychotropic effects of it, right? Like that's probably not going to be a thing. Or what? You think that's why they're doing it? Is for the psychotropic effects of THC?
I don't know what psychotropic means, but it would definitely get you
psychedelic.
Psychotropic is.
I know what it means. I'm joking, but yeah, it would definitely you would get high from it. Yeah.
So then tell me the why? Why? It seems like a lot of work.
Well, a lot of things are a lot of work.
I mean, why do people choose edibles over the vapor versus smoking it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that people want to try. And it, to me, it's always been very, very interesting because it is related. So, as you said, hops and marijuana are related.
Marijuana is a pejorative. Cannabis.
No. So, marijuana and hops are related. And, it makes sense that people would want to experiment with it to me. Yeah.
I guess. Okay. Speaking of edibles, I won't tell the story.
I don't know if it has, if there's any bittering to it, though. That's an interesting thought.
I was going to ask.
We know nothing about it, by the way.
I don't know, but I would think if they're the same genome, that they're, and the flowers, to be honest, they look real similar.
They do.
They do look similar.
So if it's got a lupig gland, and that has a lupig gland, there's alpha acids in it. Those convert into bittering units.
Yeah.
And
has someone done the math already, you think?
Oh, God, somebody has.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that have a lot more experience than we do.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun to have somebody call in sometime and talk about it.
Or we need to look for maybe an industry expert and just have them as the guest. If you're watching, let us know who's the industry expert of doing cannabis infused beer, because I'm in, like, all these hop farms. Like,
we could experiment. No, wait, Texas is
it's illegal here, so we don't know anything about it. Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I was about to do plausible deniability about the only time I did edibles in Portland. It's not your. Pull your mic up a little bit. Up. There you go. Boom. His face. No, down now. Right there. Perfect. Yeah.
I was just messing with you.
Todd thought the wind was.
I saw that.
Coming from this way. But yeah, I don't know what year. Like, I'll make a prediction. If cannabis infused beer becomes a thing, we'll start seeing hop charts for cannabis buds in 10 years, where people are like, oh yeah, you don't have any more Northern Brewer, we'll get the Northern Lights Indica because it's alpha acid, it's this range, and it'll be a wild time.
But wait, no, Beto's going to get elected, so it'll be legal in January.
Yeah. And I think Biden promised decriminalization at least, but I think politicians say things.
No, they don't.
They mean it, man.
Yeah.
They mean it. But anyways,
we are in Brown/Comanche County. They lock people up for that.
They really do.
I mean, if just a little bit, they wait at school zones and pull people.
Yeah,
up.
they'll curb stomp your ass for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially young people. They don't like young people.
Thank God none of us on this show are young. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Cheers to being old.
Cheers to being old.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Anyways, Nate, thank you so much for submitting your voicemail. Again, guys, 325-305-6107. Get yourself a $25 gift card. I'm just throwing them out this episode. We're going to move on to our...
We're like at $200 already, aren't we?
Yeah. There is a guy, I think it's Marty from Omaha.
Isn't that more than we sold today?
Yeah. It's not Marty, but we always take his voicemails. But there's someone who called in. It might have been Dan from New Jersey who left the feedback. One of them joked and said, I'm leaving enough to where one day I'm going to buy a Brautag with all my gift cards. I said, that's brilliant. I'm going to keep throwing them at you. But our third question, I had to take his. It's our buddy Danny from New York leaving us a voicemail.
Oh, Danny's awesome.
Our favorite.
Danny boy.
Listen to this very thick New York accent.
He just got married, too.
He did, yeah. A very thick New York accent.
Hey, Todd, Josh, and James. How are you guys doing?
It's my Danny boy
from New York. So I had a question for you guys. I've noticed that you guys have really got into pressure fermenting, which results in you getting your beer out super quick. So I've decided to go in entirely the opposite direction. And I have found that brewing, I have way more time in wintertime to brew, not so much during the spring, summer, and fall. So my plan is I am going to brew all my beers for the year during the winter and storing them in kegs in my cellar for the rest of the year until I decide to drink them. So I'm planning to brew like a Pilsner for the summer, a fest beer for around October time, maybe a pumpkin beer, a couple of dry Irish stouts because, well, obviously I'm Irish.
See, I thought that was a New York
in my cellar over the summer and take them out as and when I need them. My question is super simple. Do you have any tips for storing beer for a longer period of time? anywhere up to 9, 10, possibly even a year. 9, 10 months, possibly even a year. That's it. Simple question. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.
I love giving Danny your money.
Danny's awesome.
That's funny because I didn't understand the joke when you were saying New York accent, and then I was listening to it thinking, what borough is that?
Yeah.
What borough is that?
It's the Irish borough.
Yeah.
Well, it's the New York accent when you're watching Gangs of New York. It's that time frame, same time frame. Well, so it's funny, but it makes sense if you have the time to brew and you're enjoying it. James, what do you think about brewing for an entire year in a 2.5, 3 month season?
That's nuts, man. I mean, not in a good way. I mean, that's super cool. I mean, I don't know why
I do that every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. I don't know why you couldn't just leave it, put it in once it done, the primary fermentation's done. Once it's finished, just keg it, and put it in a closet, and just store it.
And in New York, the cellar temps are good.
Yeah, it's cooler there. It'd be hard to do here, but you might be able to do it there. Or just if you had refrigeration, the refrigerators. I mean, it's all about the style too. I mean, some styles are going to do really, really well with that. Yeah, and some styles, like an IPA that has lots of aroma hops and everything, they're not going to do as well.
Yeah, the aromatics are going to dissipate over time, so it'll be, at best just an ale.
Yeah, and although I get that all the time, I end up leaving IPAs a lot longer because I'm not going to mention any names, but some of the people that I trade beer with and drink beer with are not big IPA fans. So I end up drinking a lot of it myself, and I have stuff in there that's 4 months old, and people are like, "Oh, that IPA wouldn't be good after 4 months." You know what? It's still really good. It still smells good. I'm not sure I think when you have it in a keg and it's kept in a cool temperature, I just don't think you lose as much of that as some people think.
So you don't think the whole aromatics and now the bittering will never go away because that's converted during the boil. But so what you're saying is the flavor and aromatics aren't dissipating near as fast as what we're led to believe.
I don't think for me, I don't smell a huge difference on the beer. That's in some ways I like it almost better. Some of those IPAs after they've aged a little bit.
So you think it kind of
nobody else is going to agree with me on that, by the way.
It will condition, and it also maybe rounds out the hop profile.
Yeah, I mean I like it, but I'm talking 3 or 4 months. I don't know about a year. I mean that you may get a real difference there.
So now if he's doing it 6 months, he's technically just brewing 6 months out of the year. So he shouldn't be. Of course, in Texas, it's a different deal, but in New York, it's pretty much split, right? You would say 6 month brewing window, 6 month storage window.
I would think, yeah.
So then I think he's good on just about anything.
Well, and there are some styles though, like I would argue, like the breakfast stout.
Oh, the breakfast stouts are great. Yeah.
Oh, or a bourbon stout, any stout.
For a year, you're golden.
Yeah,
you're still going. If he did his Oktoberfest, in the winter. It's going to be great by the time he taps it in September.
See, then that's the other thing that's funny to me personally about the IPA is everybody always talks about you got to drink an IPA fresh. You got to drink Why was an IPA designed?
For the long
for extremely long storage.
Good point.
Yeah.
So I wonder too. Did they like?
But it wasn't a flavor issue for them.
Okay.
It was a storage and
where I was going with it.
Yeah, they wanted it to still be drinkable by the time they made it back home.
Okay.
Yeah, then they were gonna water it down halfway for those pesky common soldiers. I mean, only the officers actually drank IPA, right? So, yeah.
Of course, everybody's version of beer back then probably make us throw up now.
Oh,
because
I've talked about it on this show where people romanticize ancient brewing. I bet it was garbage.
Can you imagine how chunky and nasty and wangy that all was?
And they were only drinking it because
wangy. That's what it was.
Yeah,
they were only drinking it because their water supply was tainted.
Yeah,
that's the only reason they were drinking that wangy beer.
It's like bread in a bottle.
Bread in a bottle. They were doing it. But we're in agreement in regards to the styles that we know for a fact lend themselves to a long time. But the factors again in New York, cellars are going to be at good temperatures to store pretty much anything, right?
So what my suggestion to Danny is the darker roasted malt beers that he's brewing.
Well, like a quad. I mean, the people store it for years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the super heavy grain bill beers would be the ones I would brew first because it's going to store longer. Yep. And then that window, at the end of that window, the lighter beers would be the ones that I would brew because they're not going to store as long.
Good point.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I say, what was the time frame?
Well, Oktoberfest is another great example.
That tastes great 9 months later.
Well, because they stopped brewing. Didn't they stop brewing for I don't know how many months?
From
4 months?
From May to September, right?
They would typically brew in March, and then they would cellar it.
Yeah.
And when the first cold wave hit in October is when they would, because they had already produced their crops.
Yeah.
They're enjoying the fruits of their labor, celebrating, and they break that out. Yeah. And, it's got maybe the original traditional Oktoberfest, which is a Meissen.
Yeah.
Was lots of crystal malt or roasted malt, but the fest beer now is not that. It's not the same beer.
No, and you just brewed one. Mm-hmm. I mean, not a fest beer, but you brewed a more traditional one.
The Meissen.
And it's...
Horst is pulling his hair out, however we're saying it. He's like, it's not Meissen, it's Meissen.
Yeah. I mean, you instead of brewing it in May and having it in October, you brewed it a week ago and we're drinking it now.
Yeah.
Which to Danny, to counterpoint you, Danny, I cannot believe the phenomenal beer y'all are pushing out in 8 to 10 days. It is stupid good. Your pressure Pilsner that we still have some on tap at my pop's house was a huge hit at my daughter's little anniversary party we had.
Yeah.
And you poured me out of the fermenter. No, pardon me, it was out of the keg.
Yeah, it was out of the keg.
The Meissen, holy moly, that was 8 days from Grain
Yeah.
We had an ESB last night, right?
Yeah. That was, how old was your ESB? 6 days?
I brewed it last Saturday.
Yeah, so when we tried it was 5 days old. Not even. I'm bad at math.
Okay, not last Saturday. The Saturday before, I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad.
No, it was last Saturday.
It was last Saturday.
Last Saturday,
So Saturday.
That's good.
And it was Saturday at like midnight.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait to try it. Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday night, we tried it. 3 days old. 72 hours old, if I'm doing math. And it was delicious.
Well, this is how crazy this guy is. He'd been working his butt off out of town. He had one day back here, and he texts us, "Hey, I decided to brew a beer."
Yep.
Late,
I started
not early in the morning.
6:30 at night.
Yeah, I'm like,
something.
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had fun. It was fun. My wife was out of town, just me and the dogs, and we brewed. We threw the stick. It was great. Yeah.
It was, yeah. And like I said, the ESB turned out, you have to obviously try some before you leave out of the fermenter. But
I had a couple of buddies.
I don't think he's leaving.
Yeah. And we had a friend of mine came down from San Angelo, and he bought 2 old muscle cars. So we were doing muscle cars, and we cooked out and had too many beers, and it was fun. I mean, I don't normally get to do that a lot.
My favorite thing about beer culture is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
When you're sharing it with people, especially homebrew, not just
that's
beer.
the best part of brewing. For me, brewing beer is to share it with other people and let them realize that it's not made in a bathtub. It tastes like crap.
Yeah. Yeah. People have that like moonshine era thinking of like, or like y'all said before, homebrew beer in the early 90s had a distinguished kind of oxidation taste to it.
Right.
And,
but I have to think back in the 90s that there was people brewing good beer.
Oh, totally. But also the like the yeast that would be present in the bottle where, I mean, there was little indicators where like, yeah, that was homebrew. It could taste good, but yeah, that was homebrew. Where now it's an art of like that.
Absolutely.
He brewed the Sierra Nevada clone. When did you brew that one?
Oh gosh,
Sunday.
Oh, maybe that was the one
either way,
that's one you brewed last Saturday.
Yeah, that's one I brewed Saturday. I'm sorry. Okay. So I brewed that one the week before.
Either way, the Sierra Nevada clone. Here's even better. That was the one on Saturday.
Yeah,
it is clear as day. Pressure fermented.
I'm telling you that.
Clear as day.
We're pulling from the top. That helps a lot too.
Yeah, the floating dip tube, but that Meissen that I kegged,
clear as day.
I mean, it was pulling from the clear wort.
Yeah. What, the dog?
Look what the dog just brought up.
A frog.
You have to show it. No.
He got himself a frog. Murray got himself a frog.
It's dried, completely dried.
Oh, cool! Look at that.
It's jerky.
It's a jerky frog.
Take a leg.
What a baby!
Yeah. Murray can have it. It's fine.
Oh, my dog brought it.
Okay. Murray.
Your dog couldn't find it. Sorry.
Anyway, I will say, Danny, I am a believer of pressure brewing because these guys have been killing it. Which reminds me, when Danny's talking about brewing for the whole year at one time, That's kind of like what I'm doing, except I'm only brewing one batch, and it's not for the whole year. Todd chastised me yesterday. When are you gonna brew? I need to brew.
You got to puff give, man.
I mean,
back to Nate's question. Yeah.
There's always that guy. You have a partnership with 3 people, a threesome, I guess, and you brew beer together and trade it. And there's that guy that never brews the beer.
I never signed that contract to be in a threesome with y'all. Okay. That's a. I should have titled that for this episode. That would have gotten a lot of views. Anyways, Danny, we always love hearing from you. Thank you so much. And hey, don't knock Pressure Brewing, man, because even in your I'm going to brew in one season, you'd be surprised how many of those beers for the year you can pump out quickly if you implement Pressure Brewing.
Well, and why does he not want to brew in the middle of the summer?
Because
he's busy.
He's that too.
What he does, his company, he can't. He's on the move all the time.
Okay, I was going to say, because that's a great thing about pressure brewing is you can brew when it's hot as hell.
For me and my pop, until I get him to make room for the Brautag, we can't brew in the summer. We're doing the cooler brew. I have the G40, which is just 10 gallons, and I guess the cooler brew is only 2. It's not fun brewing outside in Texas summer. It's just not.
But you can with the G40.
You're right. Yeah. I was trying to give myself an out, but I have the G40 now. And he has a 2. He has a 2.
Now, if you get that Brautag,
I know, dude,
and you've got a space in your garage.
I do. I've been trying to get my dad. Here's what you're right. What we're gonna have to do.
Why do you have to wait for your dad? Why don't you put one in your garage?
Well, that's what we're gonna end up doing. He's not gonna make the space. I'm calling you out, Pop. Let's just put it in my garage. That way I can be in the 3-way.
Yeah, that one outside wall in your office.
It is. It's perfect for it.
You can even put a hood in there.
I could if I wanted to.
I mean, you'd be set.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And I'll take the G40 to my Pop. Because he has the connections in that outbuilding for a Brautag, but we'll put the G40 there and we'll put the Brautag in my garage.
Yeah.
And then I can get in the proper 3-way. Because
honestly,
I'm kind of doing a California 3-way, and that's just not fun.
I don't know about you, Todd.
A California threesome. What are you talking about?
I can't imagine not brewing on a Brautag. I'm so used to using it. It is such a good machine.
Nature.
Well, and every time I use it, I remember how easy it makes it.
It's so easy to use.
Easy.
And
it's
consistent. Yeah, it's that's what I love about it. It's so consistent. That's why I wasn't afraid to brew at 6 o'clock at night, knowing that I
did notice
have more than I normally drink when I start at 6 a.m. Starting at 6 p.m., by the way, you drink more than when you start at
6 a.m.
6 a.m. I should mention that.
You sent me the recipe, and I changed it without realizing. You have a 75% efficiency rate for your recipes. I had to knock it down to 70 for sending out recipes because that's what I read as average when people receive recipes. Yeah. And so it knocked down some of the numbers a little too, where I was like, oh no, should I have changed the numbers? But I mean,
remind me, I got to tell you something else about that.
Go for it.
Okay. So, I have that new
Easy Dens.
And one of the things that's really cool about that is it actually tells you the attenuation.
Oh, wow.
So when you give it all the information, it gives you the attenuation. And the attenuation I'm getting is just it's like 82, 85.
Well, let me ask you this. How close is it to what the manufacturer yeast spec is?
It's a lot higher than what they say.
What?
Yeah,
so so I would say what that tells me is they manufactured a little safety factor in.
Sure they do. And then
just like we do in our recipes.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, they definitely do. They're not expecting the efficiency, and they're not expecting you to be pressure brewing and all those things.
So right. Well, tell me this, trying to not to drag out this question or related questions for it.
Too late.
I know. Should 70 is the safe spot, right? When I'm sending
if I'm making recipes and selling kits, I wouldn't think about going over the 70.
Okay,
because you just don't know the variables on each.
That's why I read, because this was the first month that we're starting. The ESB is on Brewer's Friend. If you want to pull it, if you're in the Trail Club, you get the recipe sheet with you. It gives you all the numbers. But if you want to plug it into your system, you can go to Homebrew Happy Hour's public page and pull up that ESB, and it's there. And it's set for 70 because I read 70 is the safe spot to make a recipe. But what's the highest efficiency you think? You put 75. Is it actually more than that, or how did you come up with 75?
No, you can get.
I've definitely gotten higher than that.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can tweak, and Brewer's Friend, when you go in and you have a recipe, when it says brew it, you brew it, follow the steps, and input that data in, and then you can tweak your settings to reflect what you created on that particular recipe. So if you're set at 70 efficiency, and let's say your gravity should be 1050 and you run with 1055, you can tweak that efficiency till you hit that number.
And I know some software, I think Brewer's Friend lets you load in profiles from what you're brewing on, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
So it might be worth
I have a profile on mine.
It might be worth it if I made a public profile for Browtown, because we've sold enough that people have them to where people can load that profile in, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk to Lorena and see if she could put a Browtog profile.
Because they've got Anvil in there. They've got the G30, the G40 from Grainfather. They've got a bunch in there. It would be worth it to put them in there. As more people are buying Browtogs, which we still have plenty for you if you want to buy them at technetchen.com. But I say we have plenty. Do we have plenty, James?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we sold quite a few. It all boils down to the whole deal about the Browtog is the controller.
You're hand making them.
Yeah, and I'm building those, and then I'll test them with a batch of beer. So there's a lead time on that because of the controller, but it's only because I've got to make sure it works before we send it out.
And remember, every time you buy one, we get a batch of beer.
We do.
Yeah.
That's why I every time one sells, I'm like, yeah, James is brewing.
A beer angel gets his wings.
A beer angel gets his wings. Danny, thank you so much for submitting that question.
Oh, yeah, and congratulations on the wedding.
And final reminder, if you want a $25 gift card courtesy of Mr. Todd Burns, but through me, because I'm the benevolent one handing them out, leave a voicemail at 325-305-6107. Our last question for the show is another voicemail. I made episode 300 for you, Todd, because
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You told me I want an episode with all voicemails, and we're finally there. So our last one comes from our buddy Troy. He's in the Trub Club. Troy from Mississippi.
Hey, Todd, James, Joshua. This is Troy over in Mississippi again. Got a question for you. Here is the temperatures, well, here in Mississippi, it's probably like it is over there in Texas. It's still in the 90-degree mark here late September, but I can see in the future that here in the next few months we may actually get to highs of the 60s. So it's obviously stout season. Looking at making a breakfast stout, and my question is, I've got some cold brew coffee already in a keg on nitro. Is there a problem with just pulling some out of the keg on nitro and putting it into the keg as I keg the breakfast stout? Sorry, Josh, it's not Folgers that's in the keg. It's a local coffee roaster, but just want to get your input. I personally don't think that there's going to be a problem because the nitro won't be that much, and the nitro pretty much goes away pretty quick. But just want to get your thoughts, see if anybody sees any problems with that. So, again, love the show. Thanks for all your tips, entertainment, and all of it. All right.
Cool.
Thanks,
Troy,
Bye.
thank you so much for the question.
Before we answer that, so you just requested another Kilopitch and you got a beer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, this is going to be a good...
You're not doing a Kilopitch with me?
Fireball.
Yeah, I'll do one.
Fireball.
Yeah,
Sure. Like Caddyshack.
James, you doing another Kilopitch?
No, I'm done with Kilopitch.
So I'm thinking maybe we should bring a blanket and pillow up here to the pool for you.
I'm a man. I'm a man. Can't you tell by the way I dress myself? I'm
Prost.
a man.
Prost, my friend. Prost, James.
Oh, yeah. So when you're doing like the addition on a breakfast stout calls for adding cold brew coffee.
Dude, you're the stout king right here. So this is your question.
But I am curious though, if he's adding it from a keg of nitrogen, will that affect the final integrity, I guess, of his breakfast stout if he's using cold brew that's already on tap? I don't know enough about drawing off of nitrogen or beer gas.
No, it'll be fine.
It shouldn't, right?
No,
yeah, there's no oxygen. It's nitro.
That's what I mean. So it should.
Yeah,
be
he's safe.
Yeah, he's good.
If anything, that just makes it more convenient for him because he already has a keg of.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, what I would do is I would
pretty
take
smart.
the keg that has the coffee, and I would bleed off what you want in that keg as far as the cold brew coffee, and then top it off with the beer. Because it's already in nitro, so there's no risk of oxidation. If you do the inverse, you can risk possibly
So what if you took one of our mixers, those little mixers we have, and you had a keg of nitro and a keg of stout, and you fused them together at the same time?
You could do that. Yeah.
It would be like the old school premix.
Silly,
I know you are, but that
funny.
would be funny. Like you're talking about at point of dispense?
At point of dispense, yeah.
So have a stout, and then it becomes a breakfast stout at point of dispense.
Or coffee stout,
Coffee stout.
Yeah.
Well, that's all a breakfast stout is. It's a coffee stout.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I first want to chastise him for saying, what's wrong with Folgers, man? Folgers, actually,
because Folgers pretty much sucks, dude.
last year I think we used Kona, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you notice the difference though? You didn't.
Of course I did.
You're such a liar.
Folgers sucks.
You did not notice the difference between the Folgers batch. I will do a blind test video one day of Folgers batch versus Kona batch and see if you know. This reminds me, I have heart disease. I don't really. I have hypertension, but I left a 20 or a 12 pack of decaf K-Cups. And I come back one trip, James, and I'm like, what the heck happened to all my K-Cups? They're gone. There's like one left. His friends were drinking them, not knowing.
No, it was Eric, my buddy Eric. And he was really hungover, so he kept having another cup of coffee. It's just not working. I'm like, dude, that's
joke's on you.
Did you see when you pick the K-Cup, it says decaf on the side? He's like, that bleep, 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 blank, blank, blank. Yeah.
I have to drink decaf. I get the jitters, man, and I have hypertension. But I just
have another beer and a cigar.
Yeah,
I know. Kill a pitch.
I know. I just restocked it though. But no, regardless of the coffee choice, I think what Troy's describing is ideal in regards to a situation because adding it is just as easy as him drawing from.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
And it is almost time. I'm thinking now we got to get that brow tog at my house sooner than later so I can do a 15-gallon batch. For the three-way trade, because last year you didn't get one because I've only been doing 10 gallons.
Right. Yeah.
Now if I can do 15.
Yeah. Minimum's 15 for the sharing of the beer.
For the trade, I know.
Yeah.
Either I have to get the brow tag in my garage, or I brew it up at the office.
Or you do two batches and you ended up with 2 kegs.
Or your dad could come by. We could brew it here.
Yeah,
You should get a brow tag though.
Him and my mother just celebrated their 41st anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations.
And,
that's awesome.
So one of the reasons he didn't come up, they just got home from their trip out to Canton. They do. I guess when you get y'all are at that age where you like going to garage sales type stuff, estate sales.
No, I don't.
I think Canton is.
My wife loves it though.
Yeah. I'm not at that age yet. I'm getting there, maybe. But I wanted him to come up. All of our guests kind of fell through. That's why I told Todd last night. All of our guests fell through. I'm getting knockered now.
Yeah,
that's going to be the entertainment for episode 3.
Well, I told Todd.
I just want you to know, Clay, that we are not bitter.
No.
We're not very bitter. We're a little bitter.
We're a little bitter. Bitter beer.
Well, I told not Todd, but Josh that I was going to call in and do voicemails about, well, that James guy don't know nothing and he's an idiot and, but I never did that.
No, I didn't do it either. I told you I was going to make up a bunch of.
I think the voice would have gave me away though.
It might have. Some people say that about you.
That's rather thick, is what I've been told.
Some people say that.
Yeah.
My favorite. Oh, let me go back to the favorite memory of being with you guys. When we were in line, we went to the Craft Brewers Conference in Washington D.C. Opening night was at the Smithsonian, the Museum of Natural History. James and you weren't in town yet. You and Liz hadn't flown in yet. James and I are in line, and we're just talking normal small talk like about our day. The couple in front of us stops, and the guy turns around. The guy turns around. I'm not drunk, and he says, "I have to know, where are you from?" And I answered first, and I was like, "Oh, I'm from the Austin area." No, not you, idiot. Where are you from? And you're like, "Is it that thick?" I was like, "No, man, don't worry about it." That was also the time when, remember, we did the museum has that turn yourself into a
Neanderthal
or an ape. It's basically turn yourself into an early human. Yeah. And I sat there at the machine and it didn't change my face.
Oh, that's like my brother. If my brother did that, it wouldn't change it. When I was in the one, like in the.
Oh, he was in the booth. I was outside watching the monitor. I was laughing so hard.
He was laughing so hard. He wouldn't change my face. I was like, I already had the unibrow. I already had the overhang brow.
And the longer beard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that didn't change.
It didn't change my face at all. I am a Neanderthal, it turns out. When you mix a German and a Mexican, you get Neanderthal. Who would have known?
No, it's Wiener Schnitzel, right?
Wiener Schnitzel is what, That is what I was called as a child. Thanks, James, for bringing up that trauma.
Well, you know.
But no, Troy's question with the breakfast stout. It is that season. I do need to brew it for y'all.
Yep,
and,
you do.
And using the cold brew part, I'm assuming if he's not using our recipe, you should. And by our recipe, I mean, I've been brewing Lorena's recipe for years now. And y'all have to vouch for me. It's killer, right?
Oh, he
so
makes the
good.
best stout, breakfast stout,
Oh,
period.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Me and my dad are brewing it. Who do y'all really think's in charge of that brew day? Let's be real.
Okay.
It's my dad. y'all,
Scott, good job on the breakfast stout.
yeah, I said y'all brewed with me before, and it's speaking of Lorena.
Really wish he would have been here.
I know.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
We'll get him on a future episode. 300.
Cool guy.
We're not done making episodes yet, but last time Lorena was up, and y'all were.
We may be after this one.
Yeah, we might. y'all were kegging a beer, and Lorena, what was the comment? She said something to me along the lines of, "Oh, it's not a shtick. You don't do anything, do you?" And I was sitting there on my phone like, "Well, no, I'm working. What are you talking about? I'm working."
Yeah. We start brewing, and I'm always looking around for Josh, and he's sitting on the couch on his phone. Yeah.
Or watching TV or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, watching sumo wrestling.
Sumo, not sumo. You keep calling it sumo.
Yeah, that's
And-
sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
One of the buddies I train with, he was in my office for episode 299, and he called it Taekwondo. And my buddy goes, "Oh, that's so cringy. Why does your boss call it Taekwondo? He doesn't know you do jiu-jitsu." I was like, "He doesn't
No, it's
care."
taekwondo.
Yeah, I was like, "He doesn't care what I do. It's jujitsu. He couldn't care less. If I let him know it bothers me, he'll keep calling it something I don't want him to call it." But
I don't have any problem with that Taekwondo stuff. I just want you to know that right now.
But yeah, it is the season for breakfast out. And wrapping up Troy's question, getting the addition of the cold brew in is what matters, not the source. And y'all are confident.
That's a great idea,
And
too.
y'all are confident though that the nitro's not going to.
Yeah, no, it can't. I mean, there's no oxygen.
No, it's good.
And I
Yeah.
would say nitro. What is it's not truly nitrogen, right, Todd? It's always a mix of beer gas. I mean, beer
No. When you do
Am I-
coffee, it's just nitrogen.
Oh, it is.
When you do beer, it's beer gas. When you do coffee, you do not want any CO2 in it.
Why? All flavors, or it brings out something.
Lorena told me that.
Oh, okay.
No, it really so the carbonic acid gives you an off flavor of the coffee.
I had no idea.
Yeah. That's
so
a
you
great
only
point.
use nitrogen.
Yeah, you can't form carbonic acid without CO2. So
Have you
if you're doing
seen-
nitrogen,
Yeah.
it's smoother and sweeter. And
Are y'all noticing these incredibly small bees flying all around us?
No.
They're all over you. Yeah.
Are the bees? They're in the
They're
room?
bees.
They're
Look,
they're in the
see
room
it?
with us right now. Todd?
Yeah.
yeah, they want some of the
But
schlussel.
they're like that big.
How
They're
many
really
shots
cool.
of Killer Pitch have you done?
No, I'm serious.
No,
they're
there were-
everywhere.
oh, and there's a butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the outdoors.
We
It's
are at the
great.
point
Yeah, we
where
literally lost all the listeners.
all listeners, yeah,
Yeah.
after we took that hit of shrooms, and Todd's noticing the animals now.
Look, there's a little bird in the
Who
sky.
knew 5 grams of shrooms? Do y'all see that bug, man?
Just for the record, we did not do any shrooms.
We did not do
Yeah.
that. Mom, I didn't. I promise I'm sober as a nun. No, that's a lie. But
If we'd done shrooms, we'd all be sitting around going like this.
Beer.
Yeah.
yeah, not breakfast stout.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've drugged this out way too. We're at an hour 20, guys.
Are we
Wow.
really?
One more cheers for episode.
So we're
300.
done with all the questions?
We are. That was
We
Troy
are.
was our
This is
last
so much
question.
fun. I had a good time today.
And the best part is we're gonna keep the party going after.
Oh,
the
yeah.
report.
Yeah.
I'm not done. What do you look? Oh,
The little bees.
I don't see them.
I can't believe you can't see those.
I don't know if I leave it in the comments below if y'all see the little bees on camera, because I do not see the little bees flying around that Todd insists. Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all at 300 episodes strong. I
Who
hope
would
for
have
another
ever thought we would do 300 episodes?
weekly episodes too?
Yeah.
That's 300 weeks minus like a year where I took time off and then James convinced us to come back. But 300,
Which is how many weeks off for a year?
52.
God, you're good. Math is really, you're getting good at math.
Math is fundamental.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fundamental. Thank y'all so much. Everybody who's in our Trub Club, remember, if you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Homebrew Happy Hour Trub Club, all that jazz, and join it. You can join now, whether you're a paying Patreon member or not, but if you want to support what we're doing, we greatly appreciate it. I couldn't do what I do without your support at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. And a final reminder, the recipe of this month is the California Common, coming out with Imperial Cable Car. That's a strain
I'm really excited about brewing that.
And the yeast, assuming it arrives this week, you'll be able to brew that next week. So
I may brew it this weekend.
And it'll go out Monday.
Yeah.
I will say this, our listeners, they're the greatest.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll call and email, and we're happy to respond to every single one because every listener they're really nice.
How many calls do you get where people are placing an order and they mention the podcast?
Oh, all the time. All the time. And I get a lot of emails and calls from people that just have questions, which I don't mind at all, but we're happy to do it.
And the feedback, too, has been phenomenal. You know, the pressure fermentation feedback.
Or the stuff about Josh. Yeah.
All the stuff about Josh. That's the only reason he keeps me employed is for my misery. It's a real paradox for me, but I'm getting over it. My therapist and I have had good sessions.
Really, it's been a lot of fun, guys.
Yep.
Cheers, everyone. And we appreciate You're supposed to drink the beer after you cheer. Yeah, it's just rude not to do that.
All right, guys, here's the 300 more.
Yep.
To 300 more.
To 1,000.
To 1,000.
1,000.
And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or be Todd's best friend and leave us a voicemail at 325-305-6107. Get a free pack of Imperial yeast along with premium, delicious recipes from us when you join our Chub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.